Jason? Dude, that jerk sold my dad's drum set after I gave it to him.
Oh, I feel bad. Now you're making me feel bad.
Well,
26 years later, I feel bad.
So, Jason, we just wanted to get to know you a little bit better.
Not so dramatic. 3, 2, 1.
Another big plane going over. I think they're with the Drug Enforcement Agency. I think that's who that is. They do that a couple times a month. Anyway. Now you're making me feel bad.
Jason?
So you said that so the misunderstanding is Jason didn't sell the drums. His wife didn't like the drums being in their little apartment. So he had to keep them in the car, and then they ended up getting stolen. So it's not really his fault, whereas if he sold them, I guess that would be his fault. And then even his reaction to that was, well, hopefully, the guy that sold him was able to support his family and buy food for them. So I wanted to get your response. Let me know what you think.
I literally just woke up to this and I had to respond immediately. Okay, I went into this whole thing. It was my fault to begin with that I even gave or sold those drums to Jason. My regret is the first action. Has nothing to do with what Jason did afterwards. If he sold them, he sold them. My regret is that I even gave them to Jason at all, because in my, I don't know, capricious youth, I just was more concerned about Jason having a drum set, and whether I sold him or gave him. I probably just gave them to him, and I forgot the fact about them being stolen out of the back of his car. So Jason, I'm not upset about anything other than not having that drum set. And when you really look at the situation, it was my fault to begin with. I should have held on to them, and it was really just my dumbass decision that left me without my dad's drums, and I apologize if I've caused any stress over saying that. I love you guys.
Dude, the shows are just a blur.
They pop into my mind every now and then, but yeah.
Why didn't we journal or something?
Well, there was the show after the drum set got stolen, and I had a set of bongos.
All of a sudden, we were a folk band.
not only was I sad about the drums not being there anymore and just had bongos to play, I actually made myself look depressed on stage.
Oh.
Like a pity party. I'm playing the bongos.
There's no rhythm section. So it's kind of like, in case you don't know me, because I write all the music and I make all the videos. Not all of it, but my name's Joe Bacon. So I was kind of thinking about doing like a 6 degrees of Joe Bacon rather than Kevin Bacon, like people always call me. So we're going to start out with our drummer, not the drummer from Myrtle, but the drummer from Beauty for Ashes, right?
Right.
So this is Jason. So introduce yourself. Because Jason Pacala, you and Joe Placer, right? Have enunciation issues with people.
It doesn't really matter to me. It's a Finnish last name that no one pronounces right anyway. So. Pakala.
So you're the drummer for Beauty for Ashes.
I was.
And also...
I was, but no longer.
Bassoon player.
Well, I maybe...
Once, always.
Yeah, okay. Just like a Marine, always a Marine. Once a drummer for Beauty for Ashes, always a drummer for Beauty. Okay, I got you.
Right.
Yeah, and bassoon.
And bassoon.
Yeah.
I was going to ask how we met.
When I was a freshman in high school, and I get to school, brand new campus from, living in the East Coast to the West Coast is a big, huge change. I don't know anybody, and the first rumors I hear as a freshman are, stay away from the seniors because they'll throw you in the dumpster.
So I was a senior?
Yeah.
And you were a freshman?
I was a freshman.
Like, how soon did that happen? Like, right away?
It was like the second or third day of school, maybe the second day of school.
Shut up.
Yeah. And I was just lunchtime, had nobody to talk to, and I was wanting to stay away from trouble, didn't want to get thrown in the dumpster. So I was walking around our school's library. Yeah, man, I was just cruising around the library, walking in circles. I think I made about 3 or 4 loops around the library, avoiding people until this guy twice my height walked up next to me with hair down past his shoulders. And I was like, right away, oh, here comes trouble right away. He's going to bully me, pick on me.
Throw me in the trash can.
Throw me in the trash can. So I can't remember what exactly you said to me, like you wanted to introduce yourself. And my first thing I said to you, are you a senior? And you said, yeah. And I said, are you going to throw me in the dumpster? And he said, no. And I can't remember where the conversation went from there, but that was my first time that I met you. And at first, when I first saw you, I was terrified. Because you remind me of that kid that was on Stranger Things,
Yeah.
Wearing all the black and the metal. And
I always looked tougher, I guess, than I actually am.
You looked scary is what it was. You still look scary.
But I never felt, thank you, I never felt tough enough to actually get tattoos, though. Or wear black. I know I wanted to wear black all the time and look goth, but it didn't. I don't think it looked right on me.
So that was my first experience knowing you. I was just a freshman, and I think you and I only had a few run-ins, like for a while there, and then through my friend Travis. I guess you were trying to invite me to Student Venture.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I did do that.
It was a Christian organization on campus, and you wanted to invite me. Is why you originally approached me. But
did you go?
I don't think I never did.
You never did?
I never did until like probably my senior year.
Did you go to church with Travis?
Travis I met my sophomore year.
Oh, so a year later.
A year later.
So this was just, I know who you are because I met you early on, but I didn't know you,
right.
We didn't become friends.
Not instantly.
Yeah, okay.
Not instantly. And I guess you had a prior relationship with Travis too, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
But
we'll have to ask Travis.
I was if he's willing, right?
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
So yeah, I was I guess I became someone that kind of just like was in every little niche there was.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the best way to keep from getting beat up.
There
just
you
to
go.
know everybody. So I was a band geek, and I played on the soccer team, you know, and
Yeah.
hung out with the football players eventually, you know. I was just like everywhere.
Yeah. And apparently, eventually, in the little Christian group, right?
Yeah. So that's how I met Travis, was on the soccer team. He came out and tried out for soccer. And he and I became really good buddies. And I went to his house one Saturday morning, or Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. And I wanted to go hang out with him. And when he opened the door, I heard his mom in the background, like, "Hey, Jay." She says, "Travis can't go out right now. He's going to church."
Oh.
So I was like, "Wow. All right, dude. Well, I'll see you later." He goes, "No, man." She says, "Well, ask Jason if he wants to go to church with us."
Don't include me in it. My mom is not included in it, but
Oh, there
Hey,
you
you
go.
want to go to church with us, man? I'm like, "Oh yeah, not really. I don't want to go to church, really." I'm thinking that in my mind.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for an excuse, and I say, "Dude, I got to ask my mom.
what? I never said anything. I'm not guilty here.
I just can't just like get up and go to church, because if I'm gone for an hour or 2 hours, she's not gonna know where I am."
Totally.
I gotta go ask my mom. So I went and talked to mom. He says, "Well, let me go with you." We go talk to mom, and mom's like, "Yeah, sure, go right ahead."
Don't include me in it. My mom is not included in it, but
So were you, because you're from the South or whatever, I'm assuming you had a Christian upbringing?
No, not at all.
So
My parents-
church was a double whammy, like, I don't know if I want to go, basically, right?
I went to church a few times as a kid because
Oh.
my parents were pretty open. You know, if I wanted to go to church, they supported me. If I didn't, they supported me. They let me be.
Yeah,
I
mine
made
were
my
like
own
that,
decisions.
too.
I wasn't brought up in a Christian home. Dad was a Marine, you know, so some things were tough at home, some things weren't, you know. But they pretty much let me make up my own mind. I don't know where I was going from there. I got my 53-year-old brain working against me.
It kind of begs the question of, like, well, how did you become a believer, right?
Oh, well,
Like your testimony.
well, yeah.
She says now, she goes, what's your story? So it doesn't sound so churchy.
So what's my story?
your spiritual journey.
What's my story? Well, my story, like I said, started with Travis and his mom invited
don't
me to church.
include
Yeah.
me in it.
And he took me to church, and it was Harvest Christian Fellowship in Riverside.
Which is,
Humongous.
well, it's a Calvary Chapel, and
Yeah.
it is the church of Greg Laurie, who is
Right.
pretty famous now because they have movies. So.
Right. Yeah, so, I mean, we went, and it became like a weekly thing to go in the Saturday night service because they had really cool bands that would show up and they'd play music, and
Yeah.
we like to sit in the balcony and look at the girls, that type of thing, you know. It was no real interest in the message or anything until I think probably sometime after my junior year, it just clicked with me.
Junior year, wow, yeah.
Yeah, it was my junior year in high school before I actually committed myself to Christ. It just clicked with me one day. I was just listening there, sitting there listening, and said, well, it's the same thing he's telling me all the time. And then something, I don't know, turned on.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I really got to start investigating what this guy is talking about. And it just went from there.
So you were listening to Greg Laurie. Did you like go forward at an altar call?
No,
Or
not at
it
all.
wasn't like that.
It wasn't like that at all. Matter of fact, I think I became a believer in my own bed.
Yeah.
You know, one of those things just at night, you know, God, if you're real, you know, accept me, forgive me, that type of thing, you know. That's how kind of like I just morphed into it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a birth date, you know, like where I had an altar call and like there was like this huge thing going on. Not at all. It was just something that just happened.
Gotcha.
You know, just like when, I guess you could say it's just like when you fall in love with somebody, you know, it just happened.
It was not love at first sight.
No.
I had to warm up to Jesus.
Right.
And Joe Bixby.
Right.
Jason, I wanted to ask what happened to the ADATs from that 1994 demo. Let me know, man.
So Scott, let me tell you what did happen. I had a one-bedroom apartment, and there was no way that that drum kit could fit in the apartment with us. And I was told in no uncertain terms that it needed to stay in the truck. I had a GMC pickup with a camper shell on it, and the drums stayed in the back of that with a blanket over it. And I went out to work one morning, stopped at a gas station, looked over my shoulder, and there's the window of the truck wide open and the screen ripped out. Stuck my head inside, drums, everything that was in there gone, just flat out gone. Called the cops. The cops took a look at it. They were like, "There's nothing we can do about it. You know, there's too much due. We can't do any printing. We'll just take a report." Blah blah blah. I can't tell you how many pawn shops I went to in the Corona, Norco, Riverside area, hoping they would show up. I even heard a garage band down the street from me playing one day, and stuck my head in their garage while they were playing just to see if they had turned up there. Nope, no dice, man. So I felt pretty awful after that, and I moped about it, and we even had to do a few shows without a drum set. I mean, and I was not in a position financially to just go out and just get another drum kit either. And even once borrowed a drum kit from Rob Diebel. He let us borrow one. And after that show with Rob Diebel, he had told Joe, "Hey, you got this drummer that has no drum set, why don't you just fire him?" And I guess Joe said, "Well, you can't fire somebody that you're not even paying." So that's how that went. But man, I really apologize what happened to that kit. I don't have any other words to say than that. Your original response in that video took me off guard, though. I was sad to think that you had that opinion of me after almost 30 years. And I'm hoping now you know the truth.
Because Joe Placer has, Ferdinand Joe, he has a tape. I used to have a tape of it, but I lost it. And Joe has one. I'll have to follow up with him.
No harm, no foul. It was my fault for giving him that drum set in the first place, because I should have known I was going to want it later. I love you, Jason.
Is how come you didn't make a copy of the original demo that's just sitting here in your house?